Well, 3 days to go. Fit in 10 Nation, it is day 67. 3 days left in this challenge. And I'm going to say this straight up to you right now. I don't know where you guys are at. I feel like I'm going to have to reach out to you individually because I got very few feedback. I don't see you in any classes because we can't hold them, unfortunately, at this time. And even if we could, I mean, the classes were really dwindling down. For good reason. I'm not suggesting that you should have been coming, but I just don't know where you're at. So, I'm going to ask you to send me some feedback, or else I'm going to have to reach out to you individually. I want to know what's going on. Your scans are coming up, which, by the way, a lot of you haven't booked your scans. It gives me the impression that you are just like done. I don't know. So, it's our 10th challenge, our biggest challenge, and it's like somebody's just letting the air out of a balloon. I thought this was going to be, I shouldn't obviously write it off at this point, but this whole Corona thing really took the wind out of the sails of this challenge. But I need you guys to let me know how you're doing. I don't know what's going on. Okay, so reach out to me, send me your feedback. That at least gives me some idea. Okay. Classes, we've got YouTube videos that we're putting up every day. We've got live classes happening twice per day right now, one at 7 a.m. in the morning, one at 6 p.m. at night. No reason why you can't do these classes. And I know a lot of you've asked me, can I use some of your equipment? Can I borrow it? And no, we're not lending out any equipment. We just don't know what the future holds. We don't know when things might reverse. We're just not prepared to do that right now. Okay, so I'm sorry, but we're not doing that. Okay, follow through the workouts online, and I know that they're a bit of a change. They're not as resistance based, but let's do our best here. We've got a few, you've got 3 to 5 days left, right? So let's just get at it. All right, something I want to address here is, are carbohydrates essential? Okay, now this is actually really interesting topic because, for the longest time, and it's since changed, it's dwindled down. For the longest time, the basis of our nutrition, that is like 70% of our calories, have been carbohydrate based. And the thing that really, always struck me odd about this was the fact that it's actually really the only non-essential macronutrient, right? I mean, essentially, water, protein, and fat is what makes up our body. That is our body. We're not made up of carbohydrates. And now that's not an argument to say that, carbohydrates don't have a function, but, I think you guys have heard me say this before. There's essential amino acids, which are protein. There's essential fats. Okay, obviously falls in the fat family. There's no such thing as essential carbohydrates. Carbohydrates serve no other basis than as a fuel source. But so can fat, of course, and even protein. Although I would never suggest protein as a fuel source. So my back is itchy. I don't know why. So carbohydrates, do you need them or do you not? This is the question. So the short answer to this is no, you don't. And there's many populations in the world that don't have carbohydrates. Inuits being one of them. Many Indian tribes, like Lakota Indians, they ate mainly meat. In fact, they ate up to 4.4 kilograms of red meat per day, and one of the healthiest tribes out there. So kind of interesting. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't eat carbohydrates, obviously, right? I give you carbohydrates in your plan. You start off with a lot of carbohydrates. Obviously, your carbohydrates came down to some degree. The bonus that I think carbohydrates have is they do have some nutritive value, right? You've got things like, vitamins and minerals and antioxidants and polyphenols and all these largely plant-based materials that have some or provide some good for the human body. But interestingly enough, too, they also have plant material has the highest amount of toxins as well. So really, really interesting, and certainly not pushing any one of you in any direction. As you've always heard from me, I want you to do stuff. I want you to follow a diet that you can maintain for the rest of your life. That is the diet you should follow. There's absolutely zero sense in following something that you can't follow for a long period of time. So this is why I always left everything open to you, and this is why your diet has, for the most part, been pretty balanced. Although, for the sake of this challenge, I do cut back your carbohydrates a little bit because I lower your calories, and that is going to be the 1 calorie of choice that I'm going to lower more so of, so that we can really see some good change. Now, if it were up to me in this entire challenge, I would make the challenge longer, and I wouldn't actually make as much of a drastic change to your calories. That's really what I would do. Or at the very least, maybe make the same change, but of course do it over that longer period of time. Like, the amount of change that I made to your calories is essentially 20%, which is a lot. It's actually a little bit more than what I typically do in my challenges. I would like to do that over 30 weeks, all right? But coming back to, the carbohydrates and whether they're essential and why I remove those the most is simply because they are the non-essential nutrient. That's just the way it is. There are other reasons, such as they do not provide you with any form of satiation, that is for sure. And of course, we want to, try to keep our glucose levels as stable as possible. That's going to help you to feel better physically throughout the day and mentally, okay? So, but again, I don't want to beat up on carbohydrates because carbohydrates they are the easiest form of energy to be converted. They are the easiest fuel source to be converted to energy for the human body. So there is that bonus. So, and I will tell you right now, when I do lower carbohydrates, my performance in the gym goes down. Now, there's a lot of evidence out there to suggest that that's not the case, but for me personally, I know that my performance goes down. So I like, especially when I'm in my off season, to have more carbohydrates in my diet. I have better training. My training is better. My body fat levels go up, of course, but my training is better. So, but the short answer to this is carbohydrates are not essential. Okay, but you need to make sure that you have an energy source in there. So if you are going to have low carbohydrates, you need to have a lot of fat in your diet, okay, or at least a decent amount of fat, enough to provide you with fuel and give you enough satiation, enough energy for you to get through the day, and of course keep your BMR elevated. Okay. Now on the flip side of everything I just mentioned, carbohydrates do play a role in keeping thyroid production healthy, and this helps you to stay leaner. So some people, when they follow a lower carbohydrate diet, we notice that their thyroid production lowers. Okay, so their BMR actually lowers. So that's kind of an interesting thing to note. So, when you really break down all your macros and different types of foods, everything actually has what appears to be a pro and a con. We see lots of zealots, especially in this day and age of social media, that this is the best diet and this is the best thing and this is what you should eat and this is what you shouldn't eat. But the reality is everything's got pros and cons. So, bottom line, when it comes to diet, your body's always going to be adjusting. So I like to undulate things over time. Go up in calories, go down in calories, by not a huge margin. Usually about 15 to 20% max. Up and down, ride those things out, but try to make your body as more energy inefficient as time goes on. Okay. So basically, when I say undulate, I mean we're going up and down in calories, but through time, we're gradually taking calories higher and higher. I think that's a great overall methodology for trying to maximize body composition. Okay, for the long term. Okay, kind of went off on that one. All right, mess of the day. There's always going to be a trade-off. So, and this comes back to you staying on track. So, while you may feel the need to have these times where you don't pay attention to your diet at all, there's going to be a trade-off for that. Okay, and likewise, when you're sticking to your diet over time, there's going to be a trade-off of that, right? And you're going to get some good results. So you just have to be aware that whatever you choose to do, and this is certainly not a judgment on you from me, but whatever you choose to do, just understand that there's going to be a trade-off. All right? So, in my world, I like to do, 90% at least of good. So I'm going to get a good trade-off, right? And then I give myself maybe max 10% bad. All right? And so again, it's just being aware and setting yourself some rules and then abiding by those rules. And of course, within the context of being 90% good, giving yourself some food that you enjoy, right? Give yourself some food you enjoy. All right, so remember this. There's always going to be a trade-off. All right, day 67 in the books. That's it. I'm going to go to the gym now and film a YouTube video. While Martine will be in it, I'll just be actually filming it. And that is all. All right, submit, commit. Let's finish these last couple days as best as we can. Guys, I need your feedback. So give it to me, all right? Positive energy, positive vibes, believe in yourself. And give your thank yous. You can do that in your feedback to me. I will talk to you soon. Send me your feedback.